Hello there and welcome to the video. Now, well, haven't made a video in a while, but now I'm playing chess, so I thought, well, it would be cool to get into it. I'm playing a tournament here in North Macedonia. It's called the European Club Cup, and I'm playing here with my team, the Reykjavik Chess Club. We're at the hotel, a very nice hotel here near the town of Struga in Macedonia, and over there is a lake called Lake Ohrid, which is surprisingly historic. Maybe we'll get into it and have a look around. Could be fun. But yeah, today we played the first round of the tournament. Like I said, I'm playing with Reykjavik Chess Club, and we got a massive pairing. We played against a team that's ranked number 3. A very tough team. They have Wojtasek on board 1, Navarra on board 2, Marcus Recker on board 3, and I was board 4, and I played against David Anton Guijarro from Spain. Only Francisco Pons Vallejo is high rated currently. Alexis Shirov plays for Spain as well. He has roughly the same rating as David Anton, but David Anton is an absolute top player, rated 2651. I think he might be the highest rated player I've played in a classical game. I've played people that have, been higher. I played against Bologan, who was about 2700, but he wasn't when I played him. I don't think he was this high. He might have been close. But that's the beauty of the Europe, of the of the what? Of the Europe. What the hell? European Club Cup? Yeah, that somehow just went out of my head. So European Club Cup, this is my 6th time playing in tournament. Always a lot of fun, and you get some good games. So, what I like to do, so this is basically, short while after the game. I've had dinner and a brief look at the game. And what I like to do generally is to enter my games into ChessBase. And yeah, these are basically the games I played in recent years. And as you can see, 2019 I played some league games. Then I played this tournament in 2019, European Club Cup. Haven't analyzed as many of them as I wanted. I analyzed this one on my channel. Want to analyze all the others. Then I played a tournament in Iceland. Then some league games, and these are rapid games. So as you can see, only 4 games in 2021 and only 5 games in 2020. So not a lot of games. But let's have a look at this one. I'm entering it now into ChessBase as we speak. This is my game score from today. And let's just dive into it. So I had the white pieces. David Anton with black. No, I didn't play d4, I played c4. He went to e5, and well, I didn't know, we knew who we were playing. When did we know it? Early in the morning or something? But we didn't get the board pairings until like an hour before the round. So I didn't really have time to prepare anything. I mean, I just briefly looked up. I actually saw he played e5 against c4 in the most recent game, so I just decided to play the English opening. And it was more about deciding what to play. I didn't really have time to prepare anything. Hopefully he didn't either. The downside is that once they knew they would play against my team only has 6 players, so we don't have any reserve players, so you know who you'll play. I'm board 4, so you know who'll play me. Their team, however, they have I think 2 reserves, at least 1, probably 2. So we don't know who they're going to rest, and that's going to affect the pairing. So you'd have to prepare for 2 players, which is tough. So anyway, yeah, the game plan here was just play a game and get into the thick of things again. I mean, I haven't played much, so I'm not in great shape. He played g6 here, which, well, I mean, it didn't really surprise me, but the games I saw, he was playing either d5 or after knight f6, knight c3, bishop e4. But in this one, he went for g6. I played knight c3. So far I'm playing pretty fast. He's playing pretty fast. But I started to take maybe too much time here. Knight f3. I spent, a few minutes here. Played d6, d3. And I played this, tons of times before. Lots of blitz games. Most likely a lot of blitz games on this channel with similar lines. He played knight here, rook here, and now I played a5. I'm just gonna look up the online database so I have it on the site. I played a3, which is the most popular move. Bishop g5 has been played as well. I played that also. Wait, here's a game with Sandor Marejo against David Anton Guijarro. I'm actually gonna copy that to notation, add it, and see where we deviated from his previous game. I did not know about that. Okay, wow. Okay, wow. That's a game he won. Would have been nice if I knew that before, but like I said, wasn't much time to prepare. So let's see. Okay, so I played a3, just like Sandor Marejo did here, and David Anton followed that game. He castled. I played b4, takes, and queen e8. Queen e8 has only been played 13 times. The most common move is h6. One of my teammates asked me during dinner why didn't I play this. It's also a decent move instead of playing b4. So h6 prevents bishop d5. But okay. So queen e8 hasn't been played too often, but he did play that in this same game here that I just looked up against Sandor Marejo. And actually I found another game here. It's from 2020. Also his game. Let's add that also to the notation just for fun. Okay, in that game his opponent, which doesn't seem like a strong opponent. Is it maybe titled Tuesday? Yeah, it's chess.com, so we don't know how strong he or she is. So I played b5 here, same as Sandor Marejo. The earlier game that David played online, knight d2 was played. He played knight d8 anyway. Put the knight on e6. And actually, similar ideas to what happened in our game. Okay, let's go back to the game I just played, b5. So these videos are a bit raw because I'm looking at the opening and stuff. So I'm just trying to use the time. Okay, b5, knight d8. So we're still following the Marejo Anton Guijarro game, but here I deviate. I played bishop g5. There have been games with bishop to b2, including Levon Pansolaya here. Copy that to notation. Yeah, I like to add games to the notation to study them. So bishop e2 seems to be what strong players have been doing here. Knight e6 is logical, putting the knight on d8. Rook a1. And here Arabidze took on a1. This is something I like. I tried to use the a file at some stage. Here we have black is in some trouble. 94 using the pin. Okay, Pansolaya won this game. Sandor Marejo also played bishop b2. And we also had this. He played b6, e6, 92. Okay, so something for me maybe to look at later, but in this position I played bishop to g5. So I will now make the main line here, promote, variation. This has been played once before, but the players in that game weren't particularly strong. David Anton now played knight to e6. I took an f6. I mean, that's logical. I think we want this knight out instead of the other. Because also if he takes on g5, knight takes d5, I lose time. He can play h6, g5. Start pushing the pawns. So I took an f6. And here actually he thought for a bit, which surprised me. I'm down to 58 minutes here after I took. And he thought for 8 minutes on how to take back here with rook or with bishop. And he ended up taking with the rook. I guess he figured knight d5 was likely in either case, and that's what I played. And if he were to pull the bishop back, the rook would be on f8. But now when he pulls the rook back, it's on f7, and it might be more useful. You know, protecting this, and maybe in some lines, way down the road, if things open up, the rook can go to the g or the h file, if needed. Anyway, I was quite happy here. I played knight d2. We were getting closer on the clock here. So I was starting to think about knight d2. He played bishop d7. But here I started to use some time. I wasn't sure how to proceed or how to play the position really. I ended up playing e3. I don't want to play, rook a1 too early. You might get hit with some e4. It's not an issue, but it's nice maybe to have the option maybe to play d4 if I want. But yeah, I just wasn't sure what to do. But e3, I mean, looks reasonably logical. Putting some, adding some protection to the d4 square, which he was likely to use with a knight in some cases. So I think it's an okay move. And here he played queen d8. So I was like reasonably happy. I mean, it's not horrible in any way, but I mean, he spent time on the queen, playing it to e8 and back to d8. He has improved the knight though. It was here on c6, now it's on e6. It's more likely to influence things on the king side from here. Might jump to g5 and still influencing this square, if it was open. So probably the knight is better on e6. But I thought, when he played queen d8, that he was in some way intending to play c6 at some stage. And again, I wasn't sure what to do. Another idea is, of course, that he played queen c2. He might at some stage also just swing the queen over here. Try to get things going on the king side. Not immediately, but maybe after h5, h4, similar to what he did in the game. And then in fact he played h5 here, which looks very, very logical, reasonable, and modern, because these h pawn pushes are becoming more and more popular. I played rook a1. Yeah, there was one moment that I thought for a second I thought he messed up when he played bishop d7. Let's go back to that. I thought for a second that he messed up because I could play b6. I mean, if he allows me to take, then it's a big weakness here on b7, so I can't do that. So b6, I thought, okay, c6, c5, working two pieces, queen and the rook. So I thought he would have to take, and now problem here, how to defend. But he has a simple move, bishop c8, and then he takes the pawn. So I quickly rejected this, but I spent some time looking at it, but not a lot. Okay, so on with the game. Queen d8, queen c2, h5. Again, queen c2. I wasn't sure where to put the queen. I kind of wanted to have some influence here. If you were, for instance, to push g5, I wanted to have queen h5 available, and I felt like I needed to cover some squares to cover f3. If he ever plays f4, I think I want to be able to play knight e4, and then I need the queen and the bishop to cover this square. But okay, I settled on queen c2, and the reason was I thought at some stage he plays c6, and then I really want my knight to be protected on c3, because when I have play rook a1 at some stage, he can maybe play e4. So maybe I'll show you. He can't play c6 immediately because of knight b6, so he'd have to prepare it somehow. But let's say I move like this and I play rook a1. Now he can play c6, and my knight doesn't really have a good square. Maybe it goes to b4, but if I go to c3, he might play e4. And there's problems on the diagonal, pretty annoying. And if I play d4, which looks desirable, I thought he had c5. and the pressure here becomes too much to handle because the knight is unprotected. Sorry about the crooked diagonal. So I thought I wanted the knight protected, so that's why I played queen c2. But again, he didn't play c6, he played h5. Now I thought, okay, I'll get on with my plan. I'll play rook to a1. Try to get, I'm talking about plan, I'm trying to get things going on the queen side. He played rook b8. I think in general, rook b8 is a better move than taking. If you take, you immediately give up the file. But even though this looks passive, it takes white some time to get going on the file. I'll play rook a7. My plan is, if I can, to play all the heavy pieces on the a file and trade off. If I can do that, then I might have a pretty good endgame with pressure on these pawns. It's usually how I play it in blitz games. He played h4. Now I thought I'll put pressure on b7. He softened me up. I thought I have to take with the h pawn. If I take with the f pawn, this will be weak, and maybe after c6 he might hit the rook and hit the pawn. Maybe queen g5, he hits the pawn as well. So I thought I have to take with the h pawn. Of course, the worry is that once he gets on the h file, it's dangerous. But then again, even if he gets this move, bishop out here, I just play the rook, and I'm not mated yet. There's check here, there's king f1, and these are kind of patterns that you get to know when you play these positions. He needs more moves. He needs to open up, move the knight, and then attack the bishop. It takes a lot of moves, so maybe I can find a defense, in the meantime. But he played f4. He went on with the attack here, trying to soften me up, and I was getting really low on the clock here. 10 minutes. He had 29. And I decided, okay, I'm defending here for better or worse. I'm just gonna let him show me. And I didn't have a better idea anyway, so I reasonably quickly just took the pawn here, took on b7, and here. Now he could have taken first on either f3 or g3. Let's say he takes this and queen g5, but I wasn't worried about this. I'm just going to give the pawn back, and I should be fine. Maybe even king g2, something like this, and just take it. Knight e4. I'm fine here. Knight d5 is coming. Hitting this at some stage. I might trade queens. And it tends to be in these endgames that this piece is pretty bad. So I think I would be very happy here. But it didn't do that. He played queen g5, which kind of keeps more pressure. Let's promote this. Let's move 24. Here maybe I should play king g2. Similar ideas. If he takes, we go for the line we just looked at. So maybe king g2 is logical. I'll play knight f3. Probably a good move also. And I thought, he has to be careful. If he goes to the h file, I'm going to play king here and rook here. For instance, a horrible move like this. Here, queen is trapped, right? No squares. Of course, queen h6 doesn't make any sense, but just to show you, what's going on. Same thing if queen h5, so he went queen g4. And here, maybe I should play knight h2. I think that's what the computer said, and it liked white. But I think, there's nothing wrong here. Computer says I'm still fine. Probably, maybe even slightly better. I'm up a pawn. He needs to prove something. He took on e3 and played bishop h6. And here, of course I saw the pawn. I saw the pawn is hanging. But I thought I was being real clever with rook h1. That's what I played. But queen e2 is probably a very solid option. You're just protecting the pawn. And I'm just saying, show me where your compensation is. Probably has compensation, but still, if he starts, moving the knight, he wants to move to f5, he wants to play knight g5, trade some stuff. I can play bishop d5, trade more stuff, and I'm still up a pawn. But I played rook h1, and I thought again, his queen is vulnerable. He took on e3, and I had a bit of a blind spot. I played this. I thought if he checks, I play king h1. Of course, if he moves the queen, he's just toast. I play this, he doesn't have a square, I play knight d5. He has to go way back, and I just win a piece. But he flicked in knight f4. And for a split second, I forgot that my pawn was hanging. And I thought, king h1, and it's still on. He has to back off, and then bishop back, even takes if I want to. But then, yeah, okay. Then I realized, okay, the pawn is hanging. What's going on here? So I had to play king h2. Well, I saw this a little bit before, but only after he took an e3, unfortunately. King h2, override, promote. Yeah, I'm just entering this into chessbase as we speak. After king h2, he played rook h7. So, I mean, if he has to go back with the queen, I take the knight. So he has this move. And unfortunately, I realized that, some line that I saw earlier with king h1, I'm fine, but now I'm not. Because if I take the stupid knight, I get mated. Queen h3. Kind of a type of a queen triangle mate that I've talked about. He's covering this square, which is enough. So this is a pretty nice mate. So I'm in some trouble here. I need to defend against the mate. And I don't have great ways to do that. Like knight g1, he can play here. And no square for the king, have to play knight h3, and he takes. Yeah, so let's go back. King takes h7. So I had to play king h1. Let's promote that. King h1. And here okay, and I was way down the clock. 3 minutes. He was down to 12, and he found this nice move, c6. Not that he had to find it. I mean, he has a great attack anyway. He could have even this. I was still happy, if he had done this, because, oops, well, not this though. I was gonna play here, and I guess I can fight here. Knight d5 is incoming in some last. Knight a6, putting pressure on this guy. Knight g5 if he's not careful. Let's say something like this. I'm happy to trade. I mean, he's not going to trade, but if he did, I mean, this must be really hard to win. Knight d5 is coming. I think all endgames were. Okay, let's play any more like this. I think the endgames were. Yes, just the bishop. This dark squared bishop is going to be really hard to win. If I can get a blockade, maybe you can get going with g5, g4. Maybe this is actually winning, but I envisioned that I might be able to defend in such an endgame somehow. But he played c6, which is a really nice move. Cutting off my bishop here on b7, so now this is hanging, and the clock was ticking. I think I found the only way to kind of continue here. King g7, the knight is hanging, knight g1, again, I think, kind of the only way. Knight h5. But now I'm obviously in deep trouble. And basically, more or less, I could have resigned here after queen to1 check. But I played on for a few moves, just first of all to reach the time control. And second of all, just, practice seeing things. Like I said, I haven't played in a while, so, just getting used to being at the board. I took the pawn, because why not? I'm lost anyway, so at least, see if something happens with the pawn. Okay, bishop g4. I must be careful here, so I play queen f2. And we reach the time control at the knight f6. He had 3 minutes left, I had 1. But I'm basically lost here. Okay, I want to push the pawn, so I play bishop a6. Queen b1. Czechoslovakia, king g2. Took my pawn. Took a pawn! I pushed, knight e4. And yeah, here I was just playing by kind of practicing process of elimination. My queen is attacked. If it moves, let's say I move over here. Deep trouble. King f1, bishop check, king here, knight check. So have to keep an eye on the g3 pawn. But if I do it like this, he's going to check me, and then give me checkmate on g2. So I thought, okay, by process of elimination, my only move that doesn't lose immediately is to make a queen here. So that's what I did. And the computer agrees. Although it's completely lost, but it was the best move. I was kind of, practicing that, trying to find the best move. Maybe the best, like the least, the least worst move, I guess. But At least, that's good practice sometimes. Try to play the good moves. The moves the computer wants you to play, even though you're lost. So Queen A7 check, King of 6. I took this guy, and he gave me a bunch of jacks. Took the pawn. I saw from a while away, from a few moves ago. I saw that I was covering this, so I was not getting mated at least. So trying to survive. He gave me another jack. Here, one more jack. And then he took my pawn. And I guess this was his goal, to get me to a dark square, because we're lined up here. So if I move the bishop, he's going to check me here and get a winning endgame. So here I resigned, and yeah, it's about time, actually. So I lost, which was perhaps to be expected against a guy rated 2650, but at least I think it was a good fight. If I had played, Queen E2, we're in time trouble. When I played Rook H1, I had 5 minutes, he had 15. Maybe you still have all to fight for, and who knows what would have happened, but you need to take the chances, and I didn't this time around. But okay, there are 6 more rounds. Tomorrow we play a team from Macedonia. I think I'll be playing an FM rated about 2200, and I will have black. And we'll see. Maybe we'll do some videos. We'll see if we can keep it going. Thanks for watching.